Okay, here we go. This is 1.1 Basics of Algebra, video number 2. We left off here last time. Looks like we didn't get to this practice problem number 8, so let's just go through this one together. First thing we need to do is distribute. So we got negative 4x times x. So really this is like, just to kind of break this down and go slowly, this is really negative 4 times negative 1. Or sorry, not negative 1. Negative 4 times positive 1. So that is negative 4. And then we have x times x. X times x is x squared. All right. And we go to the next distribution. We have negative 4x times negative 1. And that is positive 4x. All right. When you have the negative out to the left side of the parentheses with bracket or grouping symbol, you can kind of think about that as distributing a negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. But I really want you to just get in the habit of when you see that negative to the left side, just change that to a positive and change all the sides on the inside. So this is negative, so I make this positive, and now I'm going to make this negative. Okay? So I'm going to drop this down as a positive x and a negative 5. Alright, so it looks like I have some like terms, so I need to combine those, and that's going to be 4x plus 1x, which is 5x. Alright, I'm just going to drop these down. Negative 4x squared plus 5x minus 5. And there's the final answer. Alright, moving on. Writing expressions. So you might get to this if you get to the application problems on this packet. So we got Mr. Bean drives a scooter. No, seriously, he really does. Suppose his scooter currently has 8,200 kilometers on it, and he plans on driving the scooter 36 kilometers per day. Write an expression for the number of kilometers Mr. Bean drives on his scooter over time. Okay, so basically, like over time, his total kilometers would equal whatever he does per day. So I would say, because we're going to multiply 36 times let's use the variable d, because if he drives 36 miles every day for 10 days, we're going to do 36 times 10, right? And so the d would be 10 there. Okay, and then we have to add on whatever he originally had, so we're just going to tack that on. That's going to be 8,200. So that would be the expression. All right, so you probably won't have a whole lot of that to do unless you do get to the application section. So there's only one of those. All right, moving on. Least common multiples. All right, so your multiples are your count by numbers. Okay, it's also like, whatever your number that you're looking at. If you're multiplying by 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, that's really what we're getting at here. So for A, what's the least common multiple? Actually, I'm going to write this out on the side here. So A, maybe I'm not. There we go. So A, we have a set of numbers. We got 6, 5, and 3. So what's the least common multiple? So let's look at 6. So 6, if we do 6 times 1, that's 6. 6 times 2, that's 12. 6 times 3, that's 18. So it's really just like your count by numbers. So 6, 8, 12, 24, 30, 36, 42. And if you're not good at that, if you struggle with sixes, say, you could always use a calculator if you want to. And so we can just keep going, but let's stop and see if we find, because we're looking for the least common. There's going to be tons of common multiples, but we want the smallest one. All right. So now let's do 5. We all know our 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Let's stop there. All right, so here's my 6s, here's my 5s, and here's my 3s. So 3s, I got 3, 6, 9, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. All right, and I'm going to stop there because I did notice as I was going through that 30 is contained in each one of these. All right. So some of you probably got this right away, but this is kind of the long way. If you didn't know, that's how you can figure that out. So the least common multiple here is 30. All right. I'll try to go a little bit faster here. What's the least common multiple of 2, 3, and 5? So you can try to think that through. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 40. So we know it's going to it has to end in a 5 or a 0, right? Because we know that our 5s all end in 5s or 0. So what would be the least common here? It's going to be 30 again. All right, 7. So 1, 2, and 4. So if that 7 were not included, the least common multiple would just be 4, right? 1, 2, and 4, we could get to 4 right away, but 7 kind of throws a curveball in at us. So if we count by 7, we got 7, 14. 14 works for 1 and 2, but not for 4. 21 doesn't work for either of those. 28, does that work? That's divisible by 2 and by 4. There we go. 28 is your answer. All right, last one here. D, we got 4, 8, 12, and 24. All right, well, 24, let's start with the biggest. 24, we would go 24 times 1 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. Times 3 is 72. But let's stop here because 24 is going to work for 4, 8, and 12. So it looks like our least common multiple is just going to be 24. All right? So you're probably thinking, oh, that's a pretty easy thing that we're going over. Why are we doing that? Because if we have an expression like this with some ugly fractions, we can make them a little less ugly by multiplying by the least common multiple of the denominator, okay? So if we look at the denominators here, we have 3, 4, and 6. Okay, so the least common multiple of 3, 4, and 6, so maybe I'm going to write this down. Hold on, somebody's at my door. All right, so I'm going to just write these down. So I'm looking at the denominators here. That's the key here. So the least common multiple for 3, 4, and 6. All right, and that's how we got 12. Right? Because eventually, I'm not going to give you that's what you need to do here. You're just going to have to figure it out to make it a lot easier on yourself. Okay? So let's go ahead and distribute this 12. So don't forget when you do this, you have to multiply them every single term, okay? Even this one, a lot of students forget to multiply this by -1, okay? So 12 times 2/3. So you can take the time to actually type out 12 times 2/3. That's totally fine. You can use that N/D fraction key that you have on your calculators. Or what I just do is I do 12 times 2 and then I divide it by 3, okay? That will get you there a little bit faster. All right, so 12 times 2, that's 24, divided by 3, that's 8. So I get 8x. All right, now I go to the next one. 12 times -1, that's -12, y. 12 times 1 divided by 4, sorry, negative 12 times -1 is going to be -12 divided by 4 is -3, y. And just remember, if you have a negative, you can only include it once. Okay, so if I say 12 times -1, then you have to divide by a positive 4. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. What you could think about is honestly, that was maybe a little confusing. I would just not worry about it and just know that the answer is going to be negative. Just do 12 times 1 and divide it by 4, and then just drop down the negative later. That's probably easier. All right, let's do the last distribution. 12 times 5, that's 60, divided by 6, that's 10. All right, so let's combine our like terms. Looks like we've got our x's and our y's that we need to combine, so we're going to get 18x and -12y minus 3. We get -15y. All right, final answer. Okay, so this is essentially the same thing, just going through. and put it out. 15 times 1 divided by 3 is 5y. 15 times 3, 45, divided by 5 is 9. And then just remember to drop down the right sign, okay? So I'm going to just drop it down first. 15 times 2, that's 30, divided by 3, that's 10. And 15 times 4 divided by 15 is going to be 4. Okay, and just combine those so we get negative 5y and negative 5x. All right, final answer. Okay, just do a couple more of these. It's the same thing here, guys. Just multiply. You're just multiplying it out. So 21 times 4, that's 84x. Just keep it going. 21 times 4 divided by 7. You can also do like a quick little reducing here. Like if you do like a cross canceling thing, like if this was 1, this were 3, well, that's just 3 times 4, which is 12. So that's how I do that a little bit faster. But again, use your calculator if you don't want to do it that way. It's going to be 21 times 13 or divided by 3. That's going to be negative 91 y. And then this is going to be, like, here's an easy one to show. Like 21 and 21, those would both reduce to 1. So if we're multiplying by 1, this is going to be just 20x. But again, you could certainly do 21 times 20 divided by 21. Whatever you got to do to get the right answer out of here. All right, now we just got to combine like terms. We got our y's and our x's. Combine our y's. Let's do our y's first. We got negative 12 minus 81. That's negative 103. And then our x's, we get, let's see, plus 104x. All right, there we go. Final answer. Okay, last one here. So again, this is 24 times 2 divided by 3, 16. 24 times 3 divided by 4, 18. Drop down the negative. Drop down the x. 24 times 2 divided by 8, we get 6. Don't forget to drop down this negative. And the y, 24, and then the last distribution, 24 times 5 divided by 6, get 20x. All right, and then let's combine our like terms. Our y's are alike and our x's are alike. So we get 10 y and 2x. All right. Okay, so that's all this is for this lesson. You can go ahead and try these algebra skills review. If they don't come to you too quick, that's okay. What's really important is that you get practice problems 1 through 17 done. All right, so I think I assigned 1 through 12 yesterday, so let's just go ahead and make sure we get 13 through 17 done. Hopefully this made sense to you. If it did not, make sure that you meet with me on a Zoom link or a Google Meet link so I can go through it. I promise you it's not as difficult as it might appear. Okay? So just please let me know if you have any questions. All right.